Now Ayrshire Radio Podcast presents Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Welcome back to Ayrshire Insights with me, Elliot Boyce, and as promised we have a brilliant guest on today's show for this week's Local Legend Spotlight. This woman is a writer and director of audio drama. I'm delighted to welcome Jill Korn from Sound Escape Theatre. Jill, a massive thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
So before we find out about how it all started, we want to know more about you. So first of all, fiction or non-fiction?
It's a combination. It's fact and imagination combined.
We're going to have to get you to go for one. Are you going fiction or non-fiction? Give us something.
Fiction then.
There we go. Audio book or a traditional book?
Traditional book.
Drama or documentary?
Drama.
Coming up, we're going to hear how a dream became a reality for Jill.
Tune in live every Sunday from 10 a.m. for Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Only on Now Ayrshire Radio.
Now Ayrshire.
So Jill, where did you grow up?
I grew up in the middle of England. I grew up in Birmingham, which is one of the reasons why I always love to see the sea, because you can't see the sea from Birmingham. And then moved to Sheffield and kind of kept coming north.
And there we go. So from Sheffield and now here in Ayrshire. Now, what was your first job? Where did your career start?
My career started in a newsagent shop when I was about 15, selling cigarettes and newspapers and everything else. But I ended up working as a self-employed learning and development consultant across Scotland. And that's what I did before I retired.
Tell us more about that. What was involved with that?
A lot of things, really. I worked with a wide range of clients, everybody from Scottish Enterprise to the Army Cadet Service. I worked with Ayrshire College, worked with the food industry up in the Highlands. It was fascinating. And it was all about recognising people's skills, the jobs they did, and giving them credit for that.
Fantastic. Now, that's something that we're really big on here on Ayrshire Insights and now Ayrshire Radio. And across Ayrshire, it's probably one of my passions to see people developing. Do you feel that the work that you've put in now is still getting done with different organisations across Ayrshire?
I would say so, yeah. Probably not even limited to Ayrshire, but yeah, including Ayrshire. So, for example, the Army Cadets in Ayrshire regularly gain SQA qualifications, and I know that's because I was instrumental in putting those in place.
Fantastic. Now, what made you move from doing the stuff that you did then into what you do now? Tell us a little bit about what you do now and you as being a director of audio drama.
It was fear of being bored. I knew that sooner or later I was going to retire from my work and kept putting it off and thought, God, I can't just sit around all day painting my nails, whatever. And just asked myself what my passion had always been, and it had always been writing. I'd always wanted to write. I went back to Glasgow University and I did a master's degree in creative writing, and while I was there, thought about what I wanted to write and realised that actually radio drama is something I have always loved. Love listening to it. I love everything involved in developing it, in producing it. And that was why I decided to just take that step and write my first play.
Fantastic. Now, where did the idea of Sound Escape Theatre come from?
I guess the three words, it's all around sound. For me, when you are involved in either reading a book or watching a film or listening to a drama, you're escaping, you're coming out of your real life, if you like, and escaping from it. And theatre is something I love. I love going to physical theatre. I love watching a play on stage. But I also love a drama that just consists of sound so that the audience have to put their imagination into making it work.
Fantastic. They're really looking forward to finding out more and getting some examples of some of the things that you're going to do. We're going to do that just after this.
Now streaming
Ayrshire Insights, hosted by Elliot Boyce.
This is Now Ayrshire Radio.
So what was your first big win? What was the first big thing that you managed to achieve as a director of audio drama at Sound Escape Theatre?
When I was still at university, I had to write and produce something. I had to publish something. And publication for me meant actually putting together a play that I had written about Edith Piaf. I was always fascinated by her and fascinated by the people who surrounded her. So it's actually the story of 3 women and the relationship between 3 women. I did that while I was at university, got a distinction for it, which was great. But better than that for me was that 2 years later, it was in an international festival of audio drama, which took place in Germany.
Fantastic and amazing for your first ever production, getting to such an amazing achievement. Now, going through your journey from that first production that you came out with, what would you say your kind of hard times have been through that? Because it's in the creative industry, you've constantly got to come up with fresh ideas. It's not something that is natural to most people. What would you say your hard days have been?
I would say that when I've done my bit, which is the writing and recording and overseeing the recording in a studio, it's the waiting then for the sound designer to do his job, for the whole production process to happen. And really I have to wait until I get the rough versions back and critique them. It's the waiting. I always want it done straight away.
It's got to wait in this game as well. And probably it must be quite difficult as well, where you've got your idea, you know everything that you want, but you're kind of then relying on other people to bring that spark together for you. How do you find that? Are you quite a controlling person with it, or do you let them crack on and see how it goes?
I don't think I am. I like to start it all off. I like to have it planned properly and planned well. But the great thing about it is that when you've written a script, you think you know what it sounds like. I've got voices in my head, obviously going mad. I've got voices in my head all the time. But when the actors come into the studio and they maybe put a completely different slant on a line, sometimes it's so much better than what you wrote because they're actors, and I do some acting, but I'm really not an actor, and they can do it so much better. And it's the same with a sound designer who brings something to it that I hadn't realised when I started out. I think I thought it was just a few footsteps and, rattling of teacups. They create a whole atmosphere. They create a whole scene behind the words, which then the audience can just slot into and be transported to another place, another time.
Unreal. It's completely different. It's interesting for me as well that you've got your idea in your head and you can picture that, because I think if anybody does read, when you're reading a book, in your head you can have the characters, you can visualise what somebody may look like, you also have an idea of how they sound, but that'll be so different to every single person that's either reading or listening to it.
Well, that's why the audience is also a collaborator in the process, because without the audience you haven't got a production, no matter how good you think it is. It's their input that actually makes that a real thing.
So what year did you start doing this?
I started in 2017.
We're now sitting 2025, just about to turn to 2026. The years are flying in, by the way. What would you say, so throughout that time, how many productions have you released?
Well, if you count the last one, which is 6 half-hour episodes, that's 15 productions.
Wow, some achievement. And throughout on all of them that you have released, have you got a favourite?
I think it might be the first one.
Still the first one?
Somehow, yeah. And yet probably I would do it differently if I did it again. But I think it's probably the first one, which is called Collaboration, funnily enough, because collaboration is what it's all about.
So throughout your time, we've spoke about big wins, we've spoke about hard days. Have you got a proud moment throughout your journey?
I've got many proud moments, I think, throughout the journey. Every time somebody says, I've listened to this and it really took me to a different place, or I've listened to this and it made me cry, that's the best. When somebody cries, that's the best. Just
hearing that from somebody that they've got that emotionally attached to what you had written, then how that was then produced, to having that emotional feeling from it. Now, you've talked hard days, proud days, big wins. What would you say the biggest challenge in doing what you do is?
I would say it's time. It's finding the time, which sounds ridiculous because I'm technically retired. But yeah, it's finding the time. It's bringing people together and, and being able to put together a schedule that suits everybody and, really making it work. It's definitely time.
Back to that waiting thing as well.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard about the listeners' tenor bargain of the week, but up next, Jill, I'm looking for you to let me know your bargain of the week, plus finding out about your links to the community just after this.
You're listening to Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce.
Now, Ayrshire Radio.
Now, it's time to talk community and Ayrshire pride, but before we do that, we are looking for you to let us know what your weekly bargain is. The listeners have been in touch earlier on, letting us know what their bargain of the week is. The question to you is, what's your bargain of the week that you've got for a tenner or less?
Well, it was a £5 actually, and it was a pair of, fantastic, bright red, high-heeled leather ankle boots.
Fantastic. And just for a skydiver.
Right, absolutely.
Easy as that. Right, Jill, back to you. So what does that local feeling mean to you?
Well, I've lived in Ayrshire for more than 40 years. And so coming in from the outside, I guess, I'm looking at a place that I think is still undervalued in terms of how beautiful it is and what we've got to offer people. I just love living here. Every time I see the sea, every time I see Arran in the distance, I'm thrilled.
It is lovely, and coming from Birmingham area, you don't really get that kind of scenic side, do you?
You don't.
Now, how have you made an impact locally?
I think over the years, because I worked as a learning and development freelancer, I worked with Ayrshire Chamber of Commerce, I worked with Ayrshire College, and I worked with what was then Enterprise Ayrshire. And, so over the piece, I've done training with local businesses, with local organisations and so on. For the last 5 years of my work, I worked with the Army Cadet Force and put together qualifications so that Army cadets could gain SQA recognised qualifications. And interestingly enough, the battalion which is most successful in offering these, although the others are catching up, is the West of Scotland.
Fantastic. It's easy as that, and that's it. And right here in the west of Scotland, which of course is Ayrshire.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to finish strong with a fun round and find out what's next for Jill Korn just after this.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast with Elliot Boyce.
It's now time for 5 fast ones. So Jill, I don't want you to think about it. Just shout out the first answer that comes into your head. Are you ready to play 5 fast ones?
Yep.
Let's go. Favourite takeaway?
Fish supper.
Song that always lifts your mood?
The Archers.
Best thing about Ayrshire?
The seascapes, the landscapes.
Weirdest moment at work?
When I had 12 guys in the studio pretending to shave all the hair off each other's bodies.
Why?
Because they had lice.
That's up there. Who plays you in the movie of your life?
Meryl Streep.
Right, thanks for playing 5 fast ones. We'll be asking our guests every week to get involved, and I can guarantee you there's not many people with 12 guys in a room pretend try to shave each other to get the lice off. They're something different. Right, okay, so what's next for you?
I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. I've got in my head, I've got a play written, I've got another play in my head, and I've got a piece which consists of poetry to put out. The one that's out at the moment is the 6-part drama series called Boswell's Galloping Farmers, and it's based on a memoir by an Ayrshire soldier that was written about his experiences in Gallipoli.
Fantastic. What's one thing that you hope for Ayrshire's future?
I would like it to be recognised for the fantastic place it is.
Good. And final shout outs and thanks.
My final shout outs have to be to my sound designer, John Boyd, who puts together all this fantastic soundscapes. And I challenge him every time with a different set of stories and places and times. And for the most recent work that we're very proud of, my co-writer, Martin Gallagher, who is based in Dublin, although he is a Scotsman.
Good. Hopefully big Now Ayrshire Radio listeners as well.
Hope so.
Now, before we finish up, I want you to just plug what you do, where you can find it. So if I want to find you and listen to the many things that you've spoken about here today, how do I do that?
You would go to your favourite podcast app, Spotify, iTunes, and look for Sound Escape Theatre, and you'll find me there.
Brilliant. So once you're finished liking Ayrshire Insights with Elliot Boyce on your favourite podcast app, all you've got to do is go there and click that, and you can also listen to the amazing work that Jill Korn has done as part of Sound Escape Theatre. Jill, a massive thanks for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
This is the Ayrshire Insights podcast.
Never miss an episode. Hit subscribe now.